You ever wonder why some dreams seem elusive and then others effortlessly materialize? Today, we're really going to be diving into sustaining the feeling of your wishes already being a reality, how you can do so, and the power of this. If you've ever wished for some sort of a guide to turn your aspirations into a reality, good news, you have tuned into the right video, and we're going to really be breaking this down. So make sure you stick around to the end of this video so you can start incorporating these strategies right away. So you can start seeing a lot of big changes in your life. So as of late, I've really been putting a lot of time and energy into studying Neville Goddard's work. If you're not familiar with who Neville Goddard is, I highly suggest checking out some of his work. It's been life-changing for me thus far, and I've just scratched the surface, honestly. There's a lot to take away from his books, and I'm gonna be breaking down some of the concepts that I've learned from him thus far and some of the things that I've incorporated into my own life that have worked for me. So one of the things Neville really emphasizes is that sustaining this feeling of like the wish being fulfilled, it's not wishful thinking by any means. It really has a lot to do with self-discipline, and it really is a deliberate practice of not just visualizing the life that you want, but feeling the sensations, the emotions that are associated with that visual that you have in your mind. And then practicing that over and over again to the point where it becomes so natural in your subconscious mind, where you don't have to constantly remind yourself of like, oh, this is how I should be feeling. So it does take a lot of repetition. It does take a lot of time, depending on your current belief system, but that truly is the key. So to break it down a step further, what practical steps can you take to getting better at this skill? What can you do today? You know, whenever I'm having these discussions with the people around me, the first thing that I always emphasize is visualizing is the tool to create feelings. It's not the visualizations themselves that are going to help you sustain the feeling, but it's using the vision to conduct the feeling. And then once you immerse yourself in the feeling, you memorize that feeling and allow that to become your new energies. Again, like when we talk about stepping into a new identity, like being a new person, you have to change your self-concept. The way that you perceive yourself is what you experience. So we want to change what we experience, but a lot of people spend so much time trying to like finick with the mirror, when in actuality, you should be putting your time and efforts into altering what you're presenting in front of the mirror. How do you perceive yourself? That's where it begins. So something that I've been doing every night is I actually visualize what it is that I want to experience, the life that it is that I want, the new goals that I have in place for my life right before I fall asleep. And I allow myself to go to sleep in that vibration, in that energy. So I've established a very strong routine doing this day after day. And it's crazy. Some of the things that like present themselves in your reality as you continue to do this over and over again, it's like, wow, like this really is possible. And then your conviction becomes even stronger. And then you can step into this new identity even faster and more effectively because you're now seeing the results. So again, you want to use visualization to create the feelings, but then it's up to you to memorize that feeling state. It is the feeling state that is going to propel you forward. Changing your identity, changing the way that you perceive yourself will take time, man. And there's no way of really getting around that because we've all been programmed with certain beliefs and certain ways of thinking that we didn't necessarily choose. But now as you consciously make the choice to think a certain way, you'll be surprised how effective these strategies are, but you have to be consistent with them. And I think more than anything, like that's really what I want to emphasize. And if there's anything that you're going to take away from this video, it is the importance of repetition. That's how this thing works. It really does need a lot of repetition, but of course, like we have so many things going on. We live in such a busy society nowadays. So to like remind yourself of these things takes time, but you can accelerate the process a lot through repetition. Again, there are so many different strategies that you can incorporate into your life to sustain that feeling so it becomes natural. But it isn't so much about the strategies. It's about choosing which strategies work for you and being consistent with them. You can write out your goals every day, write out affirmations every day. You can put up sticky notes all around your home of what your goal is so you can see them every day. You can visualize before you go to sleep every night, and that is probably one of the most powerful ones. So that's probably one you're going to want to do. But at the end of the day, it really is just repetition. So do it as much as you can, as consistently as possible, and that's what will accelerate the process to really stepping into this new self-concept. So as we touched on, right, if we're talking about repetition and consistency, what word can we associate with those two things? So over here, we got consistency and repetition. And then what do we associate with those two words? Discipline, right? It's discipline, man. It's self-discipline. You need to remind yourself of your objective every day, and you can't get away from these habits that you're putting in place for yourself because you understand the bigger picture. You understand what it is that you want for your life, and you know what you need to do to get there. So you have made the choice, the commitment to being disciplined within these new habits that you've constructed for yourself. Some Something that helps me personally is just always reminding myself that doubt, like feeling that feeling of self-doubt, like we've all experienced it, but feeling that feeling of self-doubt does not help the process at all whatsoever. So I completely suspend the feeling of self-doubt. I do not allow myself to feel self-doubt because I know that it doesn't contribute to my goals at all. It just slows them down, and we're trying to accelerate the process. We're trying to create effective habits that will allow us to sustain the feeling of this new identity that we're stepping into. So I do not allow myself to feel doubt, and you shouldn't either, because those negative emotions, those negative vibrations, it's crippling. It really is. And it's not fueling you. It's not giving you anything. It's taking energy away from you. So you must suspend doubt at all costs. Point blank period. That's just how it has to be. But again, creating those habits to really demonstrate that level of self-discipline that I'm alluding to right now consistently, it begins with self-awareness first. You know yourself better than anyone else. So if you're going to really establish a new level of self-discipline, you must first assess what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and then how you can utilize your strengths to eliminate your weaknesses. That has been the approach that I've taken with myself, and I've seen some really profound changes within myself. So that's something I highly encourage you to really do, is take some time to really detach from everything, self-reflect, and understand that everything that you're experiencing currently in your reality is based on your current perception of yourself. So the entire goal here is to change the way that you perceive yourself internally. So begin by assessing what habits that you have in place that are contributing to stepping into this new identity, so then you can continue to just live in the end, live as though everything that you've ever wanted is happening in present tense, and then how you can alleviate yourself from the weaknesses so then you can grow past them and become 1% better every day. That goes such a long way. A lot of people get so fixated on where they are today, and they allow themselves to be upset by what they are or aren't seeing, but they're playing the game wrong, man. You could be using your energy a lot more effectively. Even with this whole content creation journey, with me sitting in front of this camera right now, sharing my experiences, some of the things that I've learned, this has so much to do with everything that I'm talking about in this video. Stepping into a new concept of self. I know within myself how much time I've put into really studying these concepts, writing out these concepts, summarizing them, and breaking them down into my own words, so I can not only understand them better, but share these concepts with other people. But it really is just a commitment to getting 1% better every single day, and reminding myself that it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I'm not concerned about other people. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself that I can be, and I encourage you to do the same. I can tell y'all this, man, for a fact. If you can stay committed to remaining in that state of the wish being fulfilled, you will see changes. It's just a matter of how consistent you are and how committed you are. You only know within yourself how committed you're going to be and how committed you already are to the process of changing your external experience. But I'm sure if you're watching this video, you already understand to some degree that what we experience begins internally. It's really interesting to me how caught up a lot of people get in, of course, taking action. Right? Like taking action in itself is very necessary in order for us to get to wherever it is that we want to be in life. But that's just like one component of it. Aligning your energy with whatever it is that you want to experience is so crucial. It really is a fuse between, yes, taking action, but also doing the internal work and ensuring that you are aligned with whatever it is that you want to experience. And only you can know that. It's so funny because it's so easy for us to make time to go out of our way to see other people, link up with other people, friends, family, whatever it is. But I'm gonna ask you this, the same way that you give time to other people, do you set that time aside for yourself, to give it to yourself, to really do that internal work, to really reflect on where you currently are, and taking that accountability and embracing that fact that I am responsible for where I am in my life. No one else is gonna care about my life the way that I do. So if I wanna make changes, if I wanna see changes in my life, I'm responsible. So again, I'm gonna ask you, are you setting that time aside for yourself to really reflect on the things that you're doing right, things that you could be doing better, and getting clarity on who it is that you want to be and why, the person that you need to become in order to experience the life that you want. I get it, man. You want to give to everybody around you. You want to give to your loved ones. You want to take care of your people. You want to be around your friends. And I'm sure you already know this, but for the sake of this video, I have to reaffirm that if you want to give to your loved ones in a way that you haven't before, you need to change yourself. There's no way of getting around it. That's just a fact. You need to change who you are. That way you can take care of your people in ways that you haven't before because you're a new person. So the same way you give time and energy to other people, set that time aside for yourself and create a routine out of it. For me personally, I meditate every morning. I write out what it is that I want to accomplish that day. I write out my goals, and then at the end of the day, I study these concepts again and I reflect on the things that I've done well and the things that I can continue to get better at. So I consciously make time to be with myself every day, and this has helped me drastically. So I highly encourage you to do the same. I'm sure y'all have heard this quote before that says, we don't experience what we want or what we wish for, we experience who and what we are. So just to reiterate Neville Goddard's concept of living in the end, feeling like you have already attained everything that you've set in place for yourself, it's not wishful thinking, it's a deliberate practice with consistency and discipline. You can wish all you want, but if you don't actually believe, you won't attain any of these goals that you set in place for yourself, and that's just a fact. Discipline is the key to maintaining the feeling consistently. Repetition, guys, repetition. We need reps. You're more powerful than you know. If you made it this far in the video, much love to you. Wish you guys all nothing but prosperity and success. And just remember that it starts with yourself, your decisions, your actions, and your own level of self-awareness. Begins with a choice, guys. Much love to you all. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. You already know what that does for the algorithm. Helps other like-minded people reach this type of content. So it means a lot more to me than you know. Wish you guys all the best in y'all journeys, man. I will catch y'all in the next video. It's KT, man, signing off.